Welcome to part 4 of a 5-video overview series on value added entitled Teacher Diagnostic Reports. The information on these slides and presentation were adapted from the Ohio Department of Education, SAS EVOS, and the Ohio Regional Data Leads. We've kind of worked our way through the onion in this series, and we're now at teacher reports. And teacher reports are the ones that individual teachers receive in early November. They are only for them. It cannot be found on the public site, and it cannot be seen by other educators unless it's a building or district administrator that has the rights to see teacher level reports. Teacher level reports are generated from roster verification. District and school reports look different because they include all students and are based on EMIS. If you are a teacher in a small district where you're the only teacher of that particular subject and grade level, even though you are the only one, your report will look different than the building or district report. Students who have bounced in and out, who may be educated in other facilities but are still connected to the district, or students that you have not marked 100% across the roster verification process will fall in the district and school, but not you. And again, teacher reports cannot be seen on the public side of the EVOS website. As you see, this is a teacher report. You have 2019, 2021. You have 0 at the index, which is the expected growth. Light green is the target of expected growth for a teacher report, which falls between -1 and 1. If you have strong evidence that the students met or exceeded the expected growth, you'll fall in the dark green. If there's evidence or significant evidence that the students did not meet expected growth, you fall into yellow, orange, or red. Red representing there's lots of evidence that the students did not meet expected growth. Down here, you'll have the years again. Again, 2020 was the pandemic year on which we did not test. You have your growth measure. You have your standard error. Your index is your growth divided by your standard and represents the colors. These numbers will not work out mathematically exactly because we have some rounding based on the analytics. Your standard error has nothing to do with you personally as an educator. It is the data itself, whether or not there's a lot of missing data, you have a lot of mobility, you have the more students, the stronger, the less students, the more error in the data. So this is a part of the statistical analysis. A teacher diagnostic report, unlike a building or district report, is broken up into 3 groups, or they're called tertiles, which is a fun word to say. The yellow represents up to 3 years of previous data. Blue represents last year's data. Again, the green line is the amount, the expected growth, which is always represented as 0. And we have our solid line, which is 1 standard deviation, or the dotted line, which represents 2 standard deviations. When we're looking at diagnostic reports, we like to look at the solid line the most. If we break down this tertiles into a little bit of a closer look, the bottom group is the lowest 33rd percent in the state of Ohio. In the building and district, it's represented as 20%, but when we break it into thirds, it's the lowest 33rd percent in the state of Ohio. Meaning if you're in the gain model, it's a 2-year average. If you're in a predictive model, those students fell in the bottom 33rd percent in the state of Ohio. Blue, last year's data. Orange or a dark yellow represents previous year's data. And again, the green line is your expected growth. If we're looking at the different tertiles, if we look at our lowest group, we could have discussions that the students in our lowest group met the expected growth because as I look at my solid line, it is touching the expected growth. In previous years, this line is above the expected growth. You don't necessarily say this is a drop because we need to know more information. But in general, over previous years and last year, we are meeting the needs of our struggling students. If we jump to our highest tertile, and we don't see a bar, which is fine, but we do see a line, which means that bar is represented right here at 0, meaning our students are falling right on the expected growth. If you did not see anything, a bar or whiskers, it just means that you have less than 5 students in this analysis. So again, looking at our highest group, we could safely say that our students in past and last year have met or exceeded the expected growth. But if we look at our middle group, this whisker and this whisker, neither of them have touched this yellow line. Yes, the second 2 standard deviation has, but we're looking at the solid. So we would have discussions on what can we do to help our students that fall in the middle of the pack. What could we do in the curriculum and differentiating to allow those students to meet or exceed the expected growth? You could find this information under your teacher report on the dashboard. For more detailed information, please visit my dashboard video on teacher reports. Thank you.